Luke, I understand you just went on a recent short-term missions trip. Tell us about that.
Yeah, you know what? I was really fortunate. Had an opportunity to go with a team of 9 other people from Solomon North, which is the young adults congregation from Scottsdale Bible. And we trained here in Scottsdale, and then at the end of June, we flew out to Zagreb, Croatia, and went from Zagreb, which is in the center of the country of Croatia, to the coast, 2 hours west on the coast of the Adriatic in a city called Rijeka, where we partnered with a missionary named Stevo Volatic, who has moved his entire family from Scottsdale, Arizona, over to Croatia because he felt the call of God to reach the youth of his homeland. He's actually from there. It's a really, really cool ministry we partnered with. They're called Josiah Venture. What they do is they do these English camps as a means to reach out into the communities and get to know kids, and then they take the relationships that are built in these English camps and they plug the kids into local churches, which over there are few and far between. So these English camps are just an incredible mechanism to build these relationships. So the 10 of us trained. We prepared all our English lessons. We went over there, and we did a camp. And from 7 a.m. to midnight for 7 days, we were just in the lives of these kids. And our camp was awesome. We'd have 3 hours of English class in the morning. We'd have lunch, and then we'd have a little bit of free time, and then it'd kick into like traditional camp mode where you have sports and fun programs, and over the course of the week we told the story of God, the narrative story of the Bible that started out with, okay, there's a God, and He exists, and He created this world, and we go through, and it culminates with telling about Jesus and that He died, and He rose from the dead, and He's left us here as His church, as His bride, to do His work in His absence until He returns. And you know, the English classes that we did for 3 hours in the morning, they really forged these relationships, so that as we talked about the story of God in the evening every night, we had a solid foundation, so we could have an honest, frank communication with these kids and find out what they really thought about God, which is such a privilege and such a pleasure to have a kid say, well, you know, I don't really buy it at first, and then as the week goes on, you hear them start to get it and say, you know, I gotta say, this Jesus, He's pretty cool, and if what you're saying is true, then it's definitely worth thinking about.
So what would you say is the most memorable part of this trip for you?
You know what was neat is we had some margin in at the end of our trip to hang out with the kids after camp, and so we'd go to their hometowns. And a little guy that was in my room and one of his friends couldn't wait to see us, and they just begged a couple of us, hey, let's go out and let's just spend an afternoon and play pool. And so they took us to this little hole in the wall pool hall in the capital city of Croatia, and we sat for 3 or 4 hours playing pool and foosball and darts with these kids and just having unstructured time with them. But what it really did is it showed me that these relationships that we build, they're real, and they're genuine, and they're meaningful. And just to get an understanding of that was really valuable.
Now, if someone watching this video wanted to participate in this, could they? I mean, could I volunteer and go with you next year?
I guess you could. You know, we typically for these trips will take Solomon North is the young adults congregation, and so because of the age range of the kids, they're high school kids.
Okay.
Young adults really work best in terms of being teachers because there's that point of relation and there's not that age barrier.
Right.
So we do look for people who kind of fall into that young adults category, but I guess if you really want to be a part of it, we definitely talk to Stevo about it and see if we can get that taken care of.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing your testimony. That's powerful, and we appreciate it a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.